5A3, reserve fund and accumulated surplus account. No.
You've made it any more complicated than this.
Do we just want to say at recommended action?
I think what Herman was trying to do is to specifically set out the restricted funds, so, as what we talked about at the meeting, so that's what he's done. I don't know if council's happy with the numbers that he put in there or not, but.
And so if I recall, so in order to recommend the action for this, we have to in order to accept it, that's what we're proposing is that recommended action. And as per, then we have to read this out so the public knows.
Thanks. You're welcome. There, you can have this one.
That's right, you can have this one, yeah, it's all yours.
Nobody else wanted to take it, that's for sure. Bear with us, it's lengthy. It's recommended the council provide direction to administration on how to proceed with these matters as follows. Number one, that administration reactive accounts 40076000000, general capital, 41276000000, and administration 43176000000. Do we really have to do all the equipment?
Just read the words, Mike.
Yeah.
Not precise.
Yeah, and the equipment, the roads, water, sewer, gas in the 2015 book accounts. Two, that administration be directed to close out the balance of accounts 4009988130000, because we have to do this one, 4009981400000, 40099815000, and 4009981160000 in 2015, and redistribute these funds as follows. Just A, 7,013.31, B, 110,095 cents, $239,686.88, D, $99,999.55, E, $89,299.60, F, $109,999.88, and G, the balance of funds to 40076000000. 3, that administration be directed to prepare an updated capital reserve policy based on the capital reserves in existence, following the actions referred to with the above, annual allocations based on levels discussed during budget workshops and other available information, and to bring this policy back to council in February 2016, and that administration number 4 be directed to research accumulated surplus accounts and bring the matter back before council in February. Whew. Thank you ever so much. I'll be here all week.
Any comments? All in favor? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I had a hard time trying to understand everything that was in this.
Well, yeah.
Like, I got the general gist, but I was really hoping he could be here, and maybe you can explain it a bit, Brian, of which ones he's wanting to establish, and which ones he's closing off, just so I understand it a little better.
I'm just gonna go through the numbers here.
So all the ones in number 1
Yeah.
are being reactivated. Those accounts are being reactivated, and in number 2, all of those accounts for 2015 are being closed. And then the balances of those funds are going to
They're the
G.
same numbers, Michael, in number 1 and 2. See the
But-
A, 41,276, your
Yeah.
first number of general your admin, 4120.
But they're closing out those balances and moving those
Moving
funds
the funds
to
over.
G,
Yeah.
which is the last, with the whole pile of
Right.
zeros. Yeah. Does that make,
Yes.
it's just making it streamlined now, and it's bringing it all down into,
But I guess part of what I was looking for is I wanted to see exactly which reserve accounts he wanted to set up and sort of understand why those accounts were the ones he wanted to have.
Probably better to come in and sit down with him, because he had them all, when he added more papers in this, when he was explaining it to me. And he had all the old, where the funds were and what accounts they were in, and how he directed them and moved them around and started creating the new ones that council had deemed as, you know, like anniversary ones and that. Equipment for.
Counselor Denied.
If you look at the way he's got it set up, the balances for the existing reserve funds are calculated to be, and he lists all those account numbers. If you look at, what is it? 407-6000-000, that's in that balances for existing funds are calculated to be, and that the sesquicentennial's got 50,000 in it. He lists those accounts in number 1 and how much money is in those accounts that he wants. On page 68 of the motion and page 69, he lists those account numbers, water 44176. If you look, well, actually, that's not working. And then there's the restricted surplus water has that amount in it. So he lists the numbers and the account numbers and what the amounts are going in. Unless you'd rather table this till the next meeting till he's here to explain it to you.
My thinking is like I would, thanks, that's what I sort of got out of it, and he's reactivated 5, or he wants to reactivate 5 reserve accounts, which I can understand, but is there more, and why these 5 and not others? Like I get the gas, the sewer, the water, the roads and equipment, but is there others? Is this it? There's gonna be 5 reserves, and I just wanted to see sort of the reserve policy, then I could help understand where the rest was coming from. That's where I'm kind of coming from, because I'm just, for me, I'm not sure. I was hoping for more of an explanation. So for me, I would feel more comfortable tabling it. Yeah.
So is everybody okay with that? We'll table it and have administration bring it back to next meeting.
That's fine, for a little bit more
Mike,
explanation.
you can read it again.
yay. So, yeah, I mean, if that works for everybody, then it's fine with me.
So do we need to withdraw? Go for it, Vern.
What he's done is taken his accumulated surplus and all these restricted surplus accounts that Herb has set up and reassessed them into the 5 accounts that Herb should have been putting them into, being the equipment, roads capital, water capital, sewer capital. If you go through some of his other, in the previous document, you go through some of his, for fire, it already shows that fire has a restricted surplus account. So I cannot see that he would have missed anything, because some of those other surpluses, whatever that is, that 2017 thing. He's identified that already has a reserve account. So all he's doing is taking those accounts that Herb set up for the accumulated surplus and all that stuff, where he lumped it all into one, and he's just taken those numbers and put it into those 5 that were non-existent again. So, but that's just.
So what are you guys comfortable? I mean, I trust that what the treasurer wants us to do is exactly probably what we are going to approve, because this is just a numbers transfer thing. But if you want more explanation, it's easy enough to wait until next meeting.
finally allowing us to have a restricted surplus so that we can start saving for those capital works projects and equipment replacement and all those things that we need to do. So it's far better this way, it's far more transparent this way, rather than putting everything in one big lump sum.
This is dedicated to certain reserves, is all it is.
And the accounts that he's closing are basically outlined, the ones on page 68, the latter half of the restricted 2013 capital surplus. That's the accounts that he wants to close, and the money going from there is going to the 5 accounts that Michael wrote off. So read out. So it's there. All the money's still there, and it's just allocating those percentages that was discussed at the budget workshop into those accounts.
So
Councillor Long.
So that being said, I'm comfortable in forwarding this and passing this as it sits. I don't know if we need to have them come back and I think it's, once you get past all the zeros, because there's a lot of them, it's pretty straightforward, I thought. I thought he did a good job. So, way to go.
And as I indicated before, if you have any questions regarding it or whatever, if you want more clarification, I went and see him, he said he'd be happy to, or email him, ask him if you have questions. It's better if you come in and actually sit down with him, because he can show you on where Herb had put the numbers.
Okay, we'll vote on the motion then. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
There's gotta be one.
What gotta be different something. I just, like I said, I just wanted to make sure I was clear and.
Well, and I think it's all a living, anything we do is sort of it's like a living document, right? Anything can be brought back and changed, and this just allows administration to go forward with what they need to go forward with, and if it doesn't work out, it can be altered. So are we at this finance thing? No. 5A4,
Investment policy?
to be distributed at the meeting, this is it, okay. Do I have Councillor Danaka?
I make a motion to postpone the investment policy till the next meeting. I don't really like getting things the day of the meeting and trying to quickly go through it and figure out what you're looking at. I mean, I do have some questions on this from what I quickly read. That's my recommendation.
Anybody else have comments?
I agree with Councillor Danek, and I'm just wondering why it was put in late. Is there a rush on this or for any reason?
He was drafting it, the new policy, that's why it was kind of late. And what he ended up doing is he got the copy of the counties and basically did a template, all of them. But he wanted to be here to speak to this too.
Yeah, maybe with his absence and the fact that we're not able to question him and we don't have the information, we can go ahead and vote on Councillor Danaka's motion. All those in favor
Give it to me
of
next
postponing? Five B1, action on smoking and health. Councillor Long.
That council direct administration to contact Action on Smoking and Health and have them assist in developing bylaws to control harmful substances in the community once the federal government legalizes the use of marijuana in Canada.
Comments?
I'm kind of confused as to why we would need a policy if it's gonna be provincial or federal law that sort of basically covers it. And until such time, I mean, it could be 5 years down the line before they do anything.
Yeah.
My recommendation is just to receive it for information.
We could do that. certainly your points on federal and provincial laws are there, but like all other places, for example, if we don't have it in place and somebody has an outside restaurant that may have a smoking area, then is it not best bought? Even if they did, it'd still be covered by provincial.
I agree.
I
Most of
withdraw
these
my
should be.
motion.
Yeah, most of them should be. The other thing we can do is just wait and see what happens, because other municipalities will, some will maybe follow this, and we can see sort of the result of that, and then
They will
maybe
be able to
implement.
provide us with good guidelines, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will withdraw my motion.
Councillor Tanaka, do you have a motion to make?
The council received the information from Action on Smoking and Health regarding the legalization of marijuana in our community for information.
Any other comments, Councillor Panasic, you had to
I did just, there's this, when we're talking about why would we want to do something versus federal or provincial laws, there's that chart on page 73 where they list the different communities and what some communities have, and because they're different, they must be bylaws there, right? Like there must be a specific bylaw as opposed to a provincial act or a federal regulation on that. So I don't know if any of those things are issues for us in any of those other areas, but it's just something to, maybe there is something if these other communities, and do we have anything that addresses, and I don't know what would be tobacco sales licensing. Like what would that be? Because there is obviously the provincial act, so why would there be some municipalities have something listed and other ones don't?
Regardless of what they have listed, their municipal bylaws can't supersede provincial, and you can't supersede the federal, so at the end of the day, the template's made for you. If you wanna add a little bit more to it, you can't take it away from it.
But you can add, right, you can make your town non-smoking,
Could.
right? City of Edmonton did.
Okay.
So that's what that's all about, right? Just making your, going
That's
further
what
with
we're
those bylaws, yeah.
doing on the side restaurant, do you want somebody to be able to light up in public? No, probably not, I would think. So do you want to make it completely like e-cigarettes? Do you want it to be completely marijuana-free zones, or, I don't know. It probably leads to the professionals to come up with the right solution. It's not necessarily in our valley of purview.
Yeah, I think we might be early on it, so I think I agree with Councillor Tanaka. We'll receive this for information.
Or maybe not.
All those in favor? Carried. 5B2, High Prairie Elks Pro Rodeo Sponsorship. Councillor Tanaka.
The council directed administration to contact the Elks regarding doing in-kind donation as the town did in 2015 in exchange for utilizing our town flag during the grand entry.
Comments? All those in favor? Carried. 5B3, Fire Chief Safety.
Fire chief safety.
Salary. Sorry. No, not Nancy. Do I have a motion? A recommended action? Councillor Long.
That council approved the new salary grid for the fire chief position.
Comments?
I just
Questions?
have, I just have a couple questions. Ken, what are you making now, and what is this increase gonna give to you?
Right now, I'm making 36,000 a year, and that's what I've made since I started.
Okay,
My salary hasn't gone up. It hasn't changed. My salary hasn't changed since I started.
okay.
I guess I should use the mic too.
And this was brought forward because felt there
should have been an increase as with the step increases of everybody else, okay?
Council should be reminded that it's a .6 position.
Right,
Not a,
yeah.
a half, like,
Yeah.
50% or whatever, so. I don't know why it wasn't on the grid system
Part of the grid system,
originally, you know.
okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if the rest of our town is on this, but when I just looked at the amounts, and I do think there should be a step system with this position, just like, the rest of them. But I wasn't sure, like our step positions, when I compared the percentage increase for what, each step is, compared it to what we're doing at the college and what, they're getting at the school division, cause I checked with Brianna's, this is, like with, the step increases here are 6% increases, whereas with the, let me see what we had here, at the college, our step increases, it depending on what type of position you're in, ranged from 1.9% per step up to 4.3%, and they and anywhere in between, like 2.6, 2.8, 3.2, and the High Prairie School Division step increase that I could see was only around 3% too. So I just look at the difference in step increases, it's fairly significant compared to the other organizations. And I don't know if the rest of our step increases are at the same rate, but I just did those calculations and went, oh, seems like a lot. And although when you look at it, it's not that much money in this particular position, but overall, when you're getting a 6% pay increase, it's high.
Councillor Long?
And that's why, rather than receive it for information, brought it forward for discussion, because you're right, I think the percentage is high. And again, if we're looking at the fiscal restraints that we're going to be facing, can we afford this across the board? I don't think so. 6% for everybody. That could skew our budget pretty bad. So now that we have it out on the floor, this is something we can bring forward to the budget deliberations. We can discuss the grid increase in further detail then.
Right.
I think Kermit had already put the increases in the budget already.
And,
Can't go in.
and if you look at some of these on here, they're roughly 4%.
Should-
And I've outlined in the bottom also on the rough sheet.
On page 79.
Yeah, page 79. I just used the first calculation that they're roughly 4% or less. So that would fall into the school divisions or depending on where you're at on the grid with the college.
So Vern, that's what you're saying is the town's grid increase is now 4%?
Yeah, the way that it, on what was passed in the grid, was last,
July.
so it was July of 2015.
2 years ago.
And that's what, if you do the calculations, it's about 4%.
Councillor Panasic, your
No, I didn't do those ones,
Just that one.
Yeah, I just looked at that and, I mean, I did the comparison and it was 6% when you go up this first step. But once you get to the end and you go from step 5 to step 6, it's 5%. So it does drop as you go up and you're making more money. If the increase is the same, the percentage is less. And I didn't compare anything on this one, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I said, I just did some rough calculations
Yeah.
very quickly and it's roughly about 4%.
So his position is senior admin, is that?
Pardon
Are
me?
you considered senior admin?
Manager.
Senior
Yeah,
management?
yeah, Senior manager.
So why don't
yeah.
we consider getting the percentage increases from our treasurer on our senior management, because he should be on the same grid scale than what we are offering here. Would that not be a town employee? Because it may be a little bit different, but you said at the college, Brian, you saw decreases and increases based on, depending on their position?
Yes. I think this was comparable to the senior peace officer.
That's what we figured it out as. We took the peace officer one.
So that is our senior piece of, so that's part of our grid now?
So what we did is kind of grid it to the same program.
Right, yeah.
Any other comments?
You're looking awfully pensive.
Yes, I guess when I'm just thinking about the one thing that there's only 6 steps available on the town one. The college does have usually 8. So there is that opportunity to make up those additional amounts. But we've already established a scale that limits you out after 6 versus 8 or 10 or whatever other ones there are. So if we've approved 6% for others, why wouldn't we approve 6% in this case? I don't know. That's, yeah.
The previous scale had a long service increment at the end. So if you were at the top of your scale and you served 10 years, I believe it is, Bert? Yeah. Was it 10 years? So you got the long service increment. So there was like 7 steps that you could go in. This one, when the council approved this one, we took the long-term increment of it.
And if council remembers, it was done on the wage study by that individual, and this is basically what most of the municipalities were using as a 6-year grid at that point.
I'll probably be dead before I get long service, right?
Counselor Long.
But at that time, we weren't facing a recession. And we're now more than ever having to reflect that we're serious about trying to hold the line as best as possible. And I just caution everybody that when I'm talking to the people from the rec board, and then we turn around and say, yeah, but we're gonna give our guys 6%. It smacks of hypocrisy for me, personally. And so, but that's the position I've chosen to take, so I got big shoulders. I'm just concerned. I respect you, Ken, you know that, and as I do everyone, but on our staff. But with the financial situation that we're going to be facing this year coming up, and we don't know where our MSI monies are coming from, we don't know where the budget's coming from our provincial government. And for Danielle, if you're out there listening, let's get it together, please, and give us some information, because we're struggling. Heart River Housing's struggling. Everybody is struggling, waiting to see what's coming from the province, and the province has been very poor in keeping us informed. I don't know. I'm reluctant to approve it. That's just my position.
When we had done the step increases after that presentation by whomever that was, at that point in time, we didn't have this position. So if we had this position, it would have been included, we wouldn't be seeing this now.
True.
But we have this position, so we now have to, I understand what you're saying, but I also feel that being that we've gone through the step and this position was missed or wasn't included at the time, it's now here, I think we need to sort of honor that step increase.
Okay.
Councillor Panasic.
Yeah, I think, and I know what you're saying, we got these fiscal restraints, but in terms of step positions, it's already built into our agreement with the staff. Those step positions are going to happen. And I don't see any reason why our chief shouldn't be on a step, or, you know, a grid system also. So from that perspective, you know, I am in favor of this. But I am rethinking the COLA a little bit that we've talked about after I did those calculations, because all of a sudden now it's 8% increases for some of our staff, which I'm going, ooh, that is a lot. That's where I'm sort of at on this one. And I had one other question just to find out, what are the other fire chiefs making? Is that, and we're, because I know we didn't have this position when we did the wage comparison, and I know we were, once we did these comparisons, we had set this scale so we were in the middle of the pack after that, right? We weren't high, we weren't low, we were middle. So is this, fire chiefs are generally considered equivalent to the senior peace officers in other communities?
I think they're equivalent, yeah. I know the MD fire chief is making 96. The MD of Smoky fire chief, I was just talking to him today, he's making 82. So.
And you'll probably make more if you're at Greenview to boot. But I want to know what they're making in, you know, Flair or.
Well, Flair's 82. So. Yeah. So, mind you, he's a fire chief for 4 communities: Drewville, Flair, McLennan, and Donnelly. So he's well, I guess that's why he's working 6 days a week rather than 3 days a week. So, but I figure it's only fair that if everybody else is getting increases, that, but it's up to you guys.
I think it's kind of two things. One, we have to be fair to the step increase, just like we've sort of mentioned. If we decide to do something as far as raising wages or COLA decrease, whatever, we can, but that again has to be across the board. So these are sort of two different issues. I hear what you're saying, Michael, but I think that this is just a missed position, and it has to, if this scale is based on what our current scale is, then there's nothing else we can do besides approve.
No, and I get it, but as Councilor Panasic said, when we look at the COLA on top of this, you know, and so, I was concerned, but I'm new to this.
Any other comments? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor? Moving on.
Thank you.
Terms of reference. Councilor Donato.
The council approved the terms of reference for the High Prairie Sesquicentennial Committee as presented. Do we have to vote on these individually, or can we vote on them?
Right.
I had it individually in case council wasn't happy with one of them, so that's why.
So we have to vote on them individually. Okay.
Any comments? All those in favor? Councilor Donato.
The council approved the terms of reference for the High Prairie Airport Advisory Committee as presented.
I don't think that we should approve this one, and the reason I say that is it should go to this committee that's already established to get their feedback on whether they want to adopt these rules and regulations, because this isn't our committee, this is a joint committee, and we have to have buy-in from that committee and the other members of the committee. If it's strictly a town committee like the Sesquicentennial one is, no problem, but the airport one, we can't ram this down their throat. They could just say, no, we don't agree with it.
The county didn't bring back their terms of reference to the town, I know that. And what I did is, I left their terms of reference, and I basically did this as a template, and made the changes in here as basically the same as what the county's.
This is their terms of reference for
No,
the
this-
committee?
This is ours, they have their own terms of reference for their committee.
For the airport
For the
committee?
airport committee.
You can't have two different terms of reference,
That's
there's
right.
gotta be
That's-
just one.
That's why this one here is.
Oh, okay. What I did when I got these from you, Brian, is I sent it to the airport committee and said, at our next meeting, this needs to be on the agenda, and then we would either, from that group, make any changes that we'd like to see, and then I could see bringing it back to both councils to approve the same one. That would be my recommendation, is just wait until we can take it to the airport committee.
There was just some of the terms of reference from the county that didn't pertain to us, and I can show you that. I didn't make it a part of this one, but I have it. Like, there's some wording in there that wouldn't work for us.
Okay.
That's why I made our own terms of reference.
Yeah, but I think there should be one terms of reference for that committee that both parties have, that we can both live with. And that committee should have some input on what will work for that committee and what wouldn't. And once they've gone through it, made their recommendation, bring it back to each of the councils to approve that one.
Yeah, I agree. There should really only be one. Brian, you've got terms of reference from the county on an airport committee?
I do.
So did they have an airport committee before, or is this their terms of reference for this committee now?
That's for this committee now.
So Brian, didn't you guys approve them then? Brian Panassa, Councillor Panassa.
I don't remember approving them, no.
Okay, I'm confused.
So am I.
And I didn't see them till we emailed Jessica, and she sent the terms of reference over to us.
Because I agree with Councillor Panassa, there can only be one terms of reference. It has to be approved by the committee. It cannot be approved by the county or the town by themselves. We can approve them now, they don't mean anything to us. Fair.
Technically, you can't have a meeting without terms of reference.
Yeah, no, we know. And we hear that lots.
So really, until we have something on paper here that can be amended at the committee level, we need to have something, or we shouldn't have anybody attending those meetings.
We could call it the Town of High Prairie's Airport Committee, but we can't.
That's all I'm saying, it's like in the inspection, if you did not have terms of reference, those committees were dissolved immediately. So in order for us to even send somebody to there, the town of High Prairie needs to have some type of a terms of reference on file, and then the committee can design their own terms of reference.
I think maybe this is what was used for that some kind of terms of references, because they obviously had it before. But I don't know if the committee actually went over it. So
Yeah.
we do have terms of reference that have been supplied by the county. But again, I don't think the county can decide.
No, that's what I mean. This here needs to be approved by council, so you
By
can
both
discuss
By
your terms
both
of reference.
councils. So I think it's gotta go to the committee, and then they make the recommendations that go to both councils.
If I may. No, because in order for you to be able to, any of us, to attend a committee, whether it's the watershed, or whether it's Heart River Housing, or whether it's the airport, we have to have the terms of reference that you can go to, and so we're gonna let the county start making our terms of reference.
We have terms of reference from Heart River Housing that we go to, and we didn't decide on that.
Heart River Housing made those. I mean, every one of the,
They were approved by the council.
right, but there's always gotta be a starting point, right? Every brand new committee isn't born without everybody sitting down at the table and making it, the terms of reference. And that's how this one started, and this is how a number of them have started, right? That's what we're working with the intergovernmental regional collaboration group, same sort of thing. We're sitting down with all the partners, coming up with our terms of reference, and we've used Partners in Prosperity as a guideline, and what we're calling it the terms of reference until we're able to agree as a group on the new terms of reference. We can't, as the town of Pike Prairie, bring that piece of paper that we've approved here to that group and say, here's our terms of reference, right?
So you got Vern and me. Which one you want?
Vern.
You could approve something to this effect as an interim terms of reference.
So
Until something is developed at the committee level, that's sent back to each council to approve as the terms of reference for that.
I guess I thought that's
Just
what we
go by
had.
What the inspection told us.
Yeah.
And
Right.
until, like, because when Mr. Johnsrud showed up here, they dissolved numerous committees because there's no terms of reference. And the terms of reference really needs to be designed by the CAO to start with, in order to have that committee, in order to have a meeting.
Vern, I understand what you're saying, but I think we as a council don't necessarily have to approve the terms of references, or the terms of reference to have a meeting. They just have to be supplied. And there's many cases like that. And I'm just going to say Heart River Housing or the Library Board, we haven't gone through and approved those terms of reference. We've had them supplied, and then so there is something that says there's a terms of reference, we know how this group is operating. We do have something, and I'm going to say interim from the county that we can use, but I really think that the airport board has to go over that and then approve or not approve those ones, because it was something that we've got it in our records now, so we're meeting the bylaw that says we need to have terms of reference. We've got them for the airport committee. I think we need to make sure those are ones that everybody can live with on that committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we meet the regulations.
And just going back to the directives from the ministry, it was those Heart River Housing, and I think it was the physician retention and all of them. Kelly designed them, or brought them from the committee, brought them, and they were approved by council. It was actual directive from the ministry. I'd have to go back in the paperwork, but I know that they actually had to come to council and be approved, or those committees did not satisfy. So I'm just trying to supply as much information as possible.
Without terms of reference from us, then what positions do we take as a council going on to these committees? What direction do we take on these? And what authority do we have if we don't have terms of reference set by the elected officials of the town, to send one of our members or two of our members to any committee?
So are you saying, Michael, that there should be a number of terms of reference for every committee, that the town should have a
I'm saying that
separate one?
If you have to have something in place first, then when you're on your airport committee, or whichever one, you develop your own policy, you develop your own terms of reference, bring them back to the town, and then your committee now has your own terms of reference, but we have to provide you with terms of reference to be able to go in order to make those decisions on behalf of the town.
Yes, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the terms of reference that we've been functioning under are the ones that the county had.
They are.
Right, and it's not the ones that that we've perhaps approved, but that's what we've been functioning under. And we can't go ahead and approve these ones because they are different, what Brian's saying, different than what the county's ones are. And I think we really need to sit down with that committee and come up with one terms of reference. So we can't have terms of reference from the county and terms of reference from the town. We need one. We have one that's being used. We need to get it approved and bring it back. I think that's the easy way to deal with it.
I'll just give council a short example. It said the purpose. Now, this is what this is what they're working under now. It says the purpose, advice and information to the municipal districts of Big Lakes Council. Doesn't mention nothing about High Prairie, down High Prairie. So that's why if you look at the purpose, to provide advice and information to the town of High Prairie and Big Lakes County's council. So I changed it so that it would basically clean it up. I went through theirs, and like that only referred to the municipal districts of Big Lakes, so that
Doesn't
had no
include
reference to us at all. So that's why I did our own terms of reference.
Can we work on approving these ones here and having you present them to the airport committee for consideration, and at some point we can amend them?
That committee can draft their own
Yeah.
and bring them back to council.
So then you
both
can work
councils
under,
for approval.
you can work under those terms of reference, because we then have something that satisfies what you're.
Yeah, I'd buy that for $1.
We can do that.
You got these other two.
Or an airport.
We'll just work with
So do we have a motion? It's been a while.
Just gotta reflect both.
My motion is to approve.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried.
The council received the terms of reference for the High Prairie Bylaw Review Committee for information. No. I withdraw that one, sorry. The council approved the terms of reference for the High Prairie Bylaw Review Committee as presented. There we go.
Comments? All those in favor? Counselor Dinaka.
And the council approved the terms of reference for the Intermunicipal Negotiating Committee as presented.
I have the same issues with this committee that I had with the airport committee.
But we can approve them and we can take them to those committees and then we can see, because they're only gonna be as good as they can be, right? Because they're only gonna function for this.
Like negotiating shouldn't be taken that way, right?
Yeah, well, we did change it actually to the like they took the word negotiating out, but I don't know if it was officially done in the title. But we'll have the same comments, right?
Yeah, same issues.
All
And
those,
did they, just before we did they have terms of reference for it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So, I mean, we can approve this, but they can go, this isn't the terms of reference for our group.
But then you take it there and you.
yeah, it can be that, Quern.
But you can take it there, and then the committee can devise the terms of reference that they want, and then all you have to do is
Same
come
thing
back
here.
and revise
Yeah.
and approve the town. And that makes it legal.
Counselor Long.
And the other option is if it comes back as being unacceptable from the committee to us, simple, there's no committee. We just dissolve that part. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, again, there's nothing saying that we have to accept what they give us. If they give us the terms of reference, that absolutely is handcuffing us, or, for lack of a better term, that just sucks. Why would we accept it? And why would we entertain any discussion with a committee that's terms of references don't meet our needs?
Well, that's why we have term, if we don't want to sit on it and we know
Yeah.
what the group is standing for, then we don't go on it, right? That's the simple fact.
That's
what
right.
we can do.
And so,
And that's just something that we would agree on. It's not them presenting us something, it's the group working on it together. It's not a them and us, it's us.
we're trying really hard. And that's why it's important that the town of High Prairie is mentioned in some of these terms of references and not just the county.
Well, and I
Right.
think maybe the town of Pipe Prairie has fallen down in the past, and we do need to clean things up. And then we have been
both
part
have.
of these,
Yeah.
part of these organizations, even though that they're functional and that they are working well. Maybe years ago, things didn't get done the way that they should have, but nobody double-checked or triple-checked to make sure that the terms of reference
Mhm.
were still something that everybody was happy with. So I agree, we can approve them, we can present them, and we can work with them from there.
It's a starting point. Absolutely.
With a group that's already very functional. I mean, so it's not like we were having a problem with seeing the purpose of being part of an intermunicipal negotiating committee when we are already cost sharing on 50% of, all of our recreation. Like, we already have the relationship.
right.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, by saying that you think that potentially we're gonna get something back from the county that, is going to sever this relationship or sever our need to be on this committee
It's
is
not-
very doubtful.
Yeah, it's very doubtful, but again, we have that option.
And
You
so
do.
do
And so do they, exactly.
Exactly, and so we need to come up with terms of reference that are beneficial to both parties. And that includes, God forbid, the town of High Prairie within those terms of reference.
Absolutely, but it's
Yeah.
not anybody, this hasn't been done. It's nobody ramming anything down anybody's throat. That's what I
And my
guess
only
I'm trying to
position
say.
is that when our CAO has to point out that, in fact, the terms of reference that for the airport, we're fine to work with, and that we don't have an authority to tell them what the terms of references are, and only to find out that we're not even included in those terms of reference, there's a flaw. And so it's tightened up, it's cleaned up a little bit. Now we have a terms of reference that we can provide you with. Do you not see that as a problem? That we
Well,
weren't even included in that,
I don't see that as a problem.
through the chair. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't see it as a problem. I don't think they created any malice when they created them for their purposes. They obviously created it for whatever reason. Just like we're creating some for that other committee, the negotiating one that they haven't created. So
It's
we're
good.
saying one thing, they're not, right? And they're gonna say, well, we can't live with that. The same thing. It's just
then
it
you-
hasn't been done. It's no malice or anything.
No. I'm not implying that there is. I hope that's not being misconstrued that way. I guess it is being that way, but again, it's just important that when we have terms of reference that our counselors are sitting on committees, then those terms of references for those committees have to reflect the fact that we as a town are being represented, and that the information doesn't just flow to the county, but it also comes back to us.
Comments?
Apparently it's not an issue. It's, carry on.
All those in favor? Carried. Is that all of those? 5B5, Moose Tooth rental increase. Counselor Tanaka.
I make a motion that council approves the $1.47 square foot rental increase to tenants in the Moose Juice building effective May 2nd, 2016.
$1.37.
No, $1.47.
There's on page.
There's one on the next page.
Four, there's another one.
Oh, damn, yeah, okay. Comments? Counselor Panasic.
Again, when I looked at this from a percentage increase, if we tried to up it to $1.47, it's like a 16% increase, which is fairly significant to just drop on them. But with that said, I also wanted to find out what is the going rate for properties out there for Moose Tooth rentals, or for commercial property. You know, is it $1.47 or is it less?
This area over here that we're renting is at $2.60 a square foot. But then over there they have to have their own janitor and that too.
Do you know what the rec board is paying per square foot?
They're paying,
$12,000 a year, more or less, for that space, but then they get X amount of dollars from brain injury and it's factored all in. Bet you they're paying probably about 1,500. I just don't know the square footage.
Yeah, I just have reservations about a 16% increase without knowing, you know, are we way behind and this is catching up because it could lose us some tenants. That's what I'm thinking.
Brian, is our lease not, doesn't have an annual increase? Doesn't allow for that?
We haven't had that. On B, on the Moose Two's tenants, on that note, it shows on the notes, the last increases what were done, and basically nothing's been done since 2012. 2011 for Big Lakes FCS. And what they generally did is they did them for like 3 years running. Like they would start, say, this year your rent will be $1.47 a square foot. Next year it could be $1.50. Next year it could be $1.53 or whatever. They went up like that. So, you know, they knew exactly what they're going to be budgeting for.
Councillor Long.
And so we've had the library come forward with their budget plans and their forecasts and projections for next year coming up for this budget year. And then we come back and say, by the way, you're getting a 16% increase in your, and then they have to readjust their budget or they have to cut something. Is that where?
Does the library pay rent?
Doesn't pay.
Library doesn't pay any
Library
rent.
doesn't pay no rent.
That's right, because they're ours.
They're free.
Never mind.
But it's the same scenario for everybody that's
Watershed.
already in there. I mean, the
Absolutely.
Watershed Council has a budget that's fixed. You know, the Slave Lake Economic Alliance already has so much money set aside, and we're hitting them without that much notice where they can adjust to it because they're not easily done. So my way of looking at it, without knowing what the other rates are for rental properties, I was thinking we could do a step, like we're gonna raise it this much now, as of 3 months' notice, it's going up, and then, you know, as of, 2017, it's gonna go up again by this amount. So I would feel better about giving them more notice to step it up 8% at a time, as opposed to a 16% one. The only provision I had on that was, are we going to lose them because we're pricing ourselves out of the market? That was it.
It's actually common for the commercial property in town not to see increases. So even though we haven't seen an increase here, that's very typical of other spaces in town, unless that's worked in already to the lease. Like a lot of times they'll sign a 5-year lease and there will be a 2% increase, but it's never as big as this. Like this is a large increase, but it potentially, it could be worthy. I'm not certain what the rates, like whether or not we're getting a fair market rent currently.
Brian, didn't you do some research when you came up with the rates for next door?
I basically took it off of what the square footage is based on what the rec board would pay. So I can stuff it in, and I added the janitorial and all that stuff in.
So you base it on the rent boards.
Yeah, they would pay in, and then added janitorial fees.
I'm going to, I guess my recommendation here would be that we approve we'd look at the $1.37 increase and then do some homework on what other rates are, and then look at an increase. If we're still low, look at increasing, stepping it up as we go. If we're low, we got to bring it up, and I want to see it as cost recovery as possible. I agree with Donna. We want to get our money out of the facility, and if we don't want to be subsidizing those other organizations either.
Any further comments?
Just to pay $2.09 per fee.
And again, because we're dealing with nonprofits,
Why are they charging $1.37? Good cost.
I'd be comfortable in keeping it at 137. And as Councilor Panasic said, look at an incremental increase.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Councillor Long.
That council approved the $1.37 square foot rental increase to tenants in the Moose Toos building effective May 2nd, 2016.
Sorry?
Yours was the $1.47, right?
Yeah.
That council approved the $1.37 square foot rental increase to tenants in the Moose Toos building effective May 2nd, 2016.
And do you want to direct administration to do a comparison? Or find out
Exactly what Councillor-
commercial rates are?
Exactly what Councillor Danaka said.
She
And
reads his
direct
mind.
council or staff to research retail values and square footage, etc. For the next council meeting.
Okay.
Is that too onerous? It's not necessary if we have a big one.
Yeah, we're gonna have lots of time, we're gonna make this increase, so the next increase wouldn't be for.
It's still nice to get it so we can really know where we're at with this building as well. And Brian, I would say just put it on to your real estate companies, call both of them and have them give you what they feel that they're getting or they're working with for, retail, commercial spaces. I mean, it's a tough one to get, to put your finger on, so, but they'll be able to, get Daryl Suchuk's, rental rate, and there's enough people that they can sort of do some investigation for you. I'm sure they would do that. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Five C1 proposal. Is that our addendum? Bye, Richard. How can you leave without the addendum?
I'll make a motion that council receive the letter from Big Lakes County informing the town of the proposed development of Tribal North at the southwest of 307417, west of the 5th, for information.
Councillor Danaka.
Is there a reason why they sent this to us? It's just to let us know, or?
Their ruling is that if you own property within a certain vicinity of the development, and we own the golf course, that's why we're.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Panasic.
I checked with the golf course, gave Dave Temple a call to see if he had any concerns or issues about this, and he didn't see anything that was going to be a problem. So that's why I say receive for information.
What they will do is they'll phone all the different agencies also with transportation and that, so they cover all our bases.
And just for in future, if someone is tying under the intermunicipal too, if somebody's tying onto town water, they also have to notify us as well.
They're supposed to.
All those in favor? All those in favor? Good.
All those in favor?
Didn't have your mic on.
All those in favor? Yeah, 5E, CAO, report and action list. Motion? Counselor Panasic?
I'll make a motion that we receive the CAO's Brian Martinson verbal report and action list for information.
Brian?
Okay, my verbal report, I met with the Golden Age Club today to discuss repairs to their center, where the town had approved of $8,080. And I basically met with Alice Mary Lansky and asked her to go check with our neighbors, the county, and she did, and she sent the same information, requesting $12,610 to finish off the repairs that they had required for this year. We contacted the county, they sent us the motion that they had passed, they approved $3,000. So when I talked to Alice Mary, who's one of our returning officers, she said that we'd probably have to get together. That's why I went to their meeting today and revamp some of their stuff. So what we're looking at now is insulation in the building, eaves troughs on the building, and the scope of the work that we're doing has probably changed a bit. So if the numbers, I told them if the numbers are lower, if the prices that we get in, the requests for proposals, if they're lower and we still have money, then we just keep picking the projects until we run out of basically the $11,000 between the two. They won't, the county is the same as on our projects, they won't give any funds until they see invoices, so, yeah. So I told her, I said, we have their motion that, so I said, you'll never have to worry about the funding and that, because they were worried that they weren't gonna get any money, so. And they're gonna go back next year and a bigger delegation and hammer them again, so. Basically, like I told her, that the town now has put in $30-some thousand into that building in the last 2 years, 24 last year and 8,000 this year, and they put in $3,000. I know it's our building, but still, they have, like, I forget what percentage it was of their residents are using that facility also, so.
Why don't we bring it into intermunicipal?
Yeah,
Somebody talked about
they've discussed it there already, so. They made their decision already, and in the motion, there's other groups there from the county that they didn't give any funding until they just received it for information, so I think they were lucky to get the 3,000, so,
Tough year.
yeah.
Well, I know it's a problem from the FCSS perspective, because I think we forget that they're involved in so many other halls and projects throughout the area between Canuso and Gruard and Jussard, and that their money's stretched kind of thinner than we realize.
So at their meeting today, I just told them that I'd work with them and would try to get the best bang for their buck. And like I told them, I said, the insulation and the eaves troughs are probably the next thing. We did the roof last year. So now we you can see on the west side of the building, like the ice is built up there again on the tin. So obviously there's major heat loss there. So the insulation's the next step, so.
Brian, one of the things I was brainstorming with some others about uses for the old, well, not the old, but the United Church that's for sale. And, that would be a perfect location for, a senior center, right? Like if there was some way to get them to be able to purchase that. It's close to the senior self-contained, close to the old, the lodge. And if there was some way that they could do that, nice big facility, lots of space, in good shape, I don't know if they can do it, but.
I think their membership's too small.
Okay.
Like, and their funding and that is.
If they could, yeah, it would be a great use for it if they could make it happen.
So that sign that's in front there, that says for sale, call Grant or Shirley, is it an actual true sign? It is. I thought somebody just moved it from Grant Colleen's house and stuck it there.
No, that's Grant Gustafson and Shirley Kiefler. That's who they're making reference to. And there's an agreement, I believe, already in place on it with another church.
Really?
So I don't know, anything about the, firm details, but there may already be something in.
How does somebody own a church?
The church owns a church, the group, right? Just like Golden Age or the
Oh,
Society,
so
the United Church of
the
High Prairie.
United Church of High Prairie is selling the church?
That's right, yeah.
Oh. Well,
So where are they going?
They just don't have any membership anymore. They've sort of,
No minister.
no minister, they've just kind of dissipated. There's so many other new churches sort of popping up and taking some of the congregation. But further to your topic, and I know we're sort of digressing here, but maybe see if you can look into, we just went to a mortgage brokers conference, and part of mortgage monies that we were learning about were attached to grants if you were doing energy efficient improvements, windows, roofs, things that might save money in the long run. But there were so much of the money that was just being granted. So maybe there's something with the senior center that we can apply for.
Continue. 43 people attended the advanced voting on Monday. I'm in the process of applying for the Canada Summer Jobs application for summer students in the STEP program. Attended the council budget workshop on the 19th of January, and also attended the forum for the 2 councillor positions. And there was also pallbearer for our fellow employee Ed on the 19th of January. That's it for my verbal report. Is there any questions on the committee?
are you trying to get his attention or something?
Yes, turn your mic on, please.
Okay, questions on the action list? All in favor of accepting?
Just leave them on all the time.
I can only do, I can do 6.
6-0.
I move that council receive the checklisting for council for December 16th to the 29th, 2015 for information.
Questions, comments? All those in favor? 6-2, FCSS monthly report.
I
Councilor
make a motion that
Dinaca.
council receive the December 2015 report from FCSS for information.
Questions, comments? All those in favor? 7, notice of upcoming meetings. 1, 15th Annual Gun and Sportsman Show. Councilor Dinaca.
The council direct administration to register for a table at $50 for the 15th Annual Gun and Sportsman Show, April 16th and 17th, and supply them with a silent auction item.
Comments?
I don't know this for sure, but I suspect that the tables are what you would find in the home crafts section of that home and gun show, and it's just a table. There'd be no room to set up your display board or sort of stand behind it or anything. So to be there, I think it would be better to have the 10 by 10, so we can set up our nice display and be able to go behind it and address people much easier than you can with the table that would be in the crafts section.
The last time we had a table there, it was set up just as you come off the ice surface in the Sports Palace, and it was to the left or to the right as you go off into down the corridor, and there's a kind of a big opening there. That's where they put the extra nets and that there. There's kind of an opening there between the
corridor there.
yeah. It's before you hit the actual overhead door there. There's a big opening there, and that's where we're set up for. So if you request that spot, or if I talk to them, there's
That was
lots of room
inside the
there.
arena? Like inside the...
It's inside the
on
Sports
ice,
Palace.
On the ice surface?
No, it's
In the lobby,
between the two.
in the lobby,
On the way to the
Just
Zamboni
outside,
room.
just outside the glass.
On the way to the Zamboni room.
on the back.
That channel that goes between the two
Oh,
arenas.
okay.
Is that,
It's in the sports palace, so.
I think that's where the county was set up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
so we're putting, and all of us were at that one, was that trade fair?
That was the Chamber of Commerce.
Commerce trade fair, yeah, it wasn't the,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's a good idea to be at the gun, this gun show. I think there's more people than go to the trade show.
Or at this.
Yeah, more at this one for sure. So,
I'm just gonna throw out the question, what do we, do we, I know we manned the one, I think everybody took a little stint at the other one, but we never really had much questions or what's the value of being there? And who's going to man it when we're there? Again, is it staff that's gonna man it? Is it going to be counselors again that are going to man it? Because I'm just wondering, because when we manned it, we didn't get really much interest other than as counselors to chat with the people. I don't know if,
Renew them too, eh?
that's right, and so I'm just going, we never had anybody ask about, we want to open a business here, what do I do? It was none of that kind of stuff, but.
I think it's just the being able to talk to the people as they come by. I don't think you're gonna get anything from people who, are looking to see what the town's all about or whatever. It's just being out there and people can approach you to ask you questions or talk to you or whatever. It's just being a presence, I guess, more than anything else.
yeah, I agree. If we could get counsel, because ultimately it's expensive. It's a weekend to expect staff to be paid to come. Like, we have to sort of make that decision. But if we can get counsel to volunteer time to go to support the booth or demand the booth, then it is that opportunity to network. It's like, we've talked about having that opportunity to do meet and greets. We talked about, cafes where you could, you could actually talk to people in the public. That is the venue. Everybody's there. They can stop by and they can visit. I know that there wasn't a lot of people coming into the booth. We actually need, if we were to do this, I would suggest doing the booth differently and do the U-shaped booth where people could actually come into. We didn't do it that way. We just had a table across so nobody could come in to visit, right? So you could create that better environment to invite. Catch-all, exactly. Create the base, and maybe knowing that it's upcoming, we may be able to prepare something like on a ballot with some questions, and we might be able to spark conversation and get some feedback. Where people, I know with some companies like with Sun Life, I'll do a ballot that'll ask questions about if they're interested in finding out information on this. They can put their name and their number and stuff, but that's the ballot for, how there's always a draw at the trade show. Just the same, the town. We sort of did that with some questions because we were talking about a budget survey, I think, or.
I think at the trade show we had some questions.
Yeah, so we did get some feedback on that, because sometimes people may not talk about it, but if you have a little piece of paper that they can fill out and they can answer a question or see if they're curious, or, what do you think about this, yes or no, or what value of raising taxes, or, there can be a question that we can address or in some sort of brochure form or in our ballot form. But then I agree, we would need more than just a table. We would probably need a booth.
So I guess I'm just going to ask, are we going to be able to, if it's 2 days at about 8 hours a day, roughly to man that, so that's 16 hours, and you want probably 2 counselors at a time in there. So that's roughly 32 hours and you divide that by 7 council members. So what are we at there? We're at about, each person will have to donate approximately 5 hours to make that work. Is everybody all right with that?
I'm available the 16th, not the 17th. My darling's birthday.
Yep.
It'd be
As far
good-
as I know,
It'd be good to split the 2 new counselors up and then people can meet them too.
good opportunity to meet the new counselors. I think that we could probably approve something subject to getting everybody else's approval, because we need everybody else's commitment on time.
We got lots of time to
Yeah.
pick the times or whatever, and set up a schedule sort of thing.
But yeah, we just have to make sure that we're aware that that's the time that we're committing ourselves to make that happen.
About right for the trade show. We put in for 5 hours.
Yeah, 2 different shifts, you should, yeah. I think if you did. Okay, so do we want to vote on Donna's motion, or do you want to amend it to a booth? Because you approved a $50 table.
Right, and you're saying the 10 by 10 is better? I will withdraw that motion. And I will make a new motion that council direct administration to register for a 10 by 10 table at the 15th annual Gun and Sportsman Show, April 16th and 17th, as well as supply them with a silent auction number. Item.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure. Silent auction item.
Silent auction.
Or,
So that was for
I
$200,
don't know.
eh? 10 by 10 area.
Yeah, that's $200 price tag, yeah.
Do we need a money value on the silent auction item, Donna?
We'll have to see what we got here.
Well, silent auction, we might have to buy something. We can create a gift basket for our booth out of the stuff that we maybe have here. We may actually have to purchase it versus, no. We can't
No.
create a gift basket.
I have a magazine with some neat stuff we could order out of. That'd be better.
I would suggest though, if we were to buy something for, like, just buy something local, like maybe there's a local artist or something, you can buy a piece and put in the silent auction.
I was thinking,
Really? Thinking?
I was thinking that if we could maybe, because it's a gun show and sportsman show, that if we were to buy something from one of our guiding outfitters, either for fishing or for hunting, as a draw for our booth. And then the sportsmen that are coming by, the sports people that are coming by would say, hey, there's a weekend package or a day package to go guiding and fishing or on the Slave or on,
Look at how rich you feel.
you know,
I mean, that's a great idea.
it would get people in.
No, for sure.
I think what would really get people's attention is to have one day with the ace fisherman in his ice fishing shack, Ken Melnick. Now, people would be all over
There we
that.
go. Ken.
Absolutely. They would pay big money to get that
Hey,
day.
it's a trade-off for the raise.
Yeah.
BYOB, yeah. Bring your own booze. Come on down.
I think in
We can
April
mark
it's a
that
little
down,
dangerous
Ken.
though, right? That ice fishing?
So, but yeah, the sky's the limit. I mean, we don't just have to have our little basket. We can think of.
No, and that's why I even said a local artist. I've seen lots of Tracy's works where they're not,
Yeah.
not very expensive, but they're beautiful paintings, and there's something that somebody may, be interested in dropping into our booth and having a chat and filling out a little piece of paper, but it's supporting some, buying local and supporting somebody local as well.
Yeah.
But we can leave that up to
We have
administration.
time.
I think we just have to give them a money amount though, unless you want to give that some thought, because we can bring that back. Right, it's not till April. We can commit to the booth right now.
Yeah, I think, but I also agree with what Councilor Panasic is saying that, I mean, can we tentatively commit? Because if we don't have, like, I don't know what Mayor Cox is, if she's around, or,
Because that just
whoever-
doubles up everybody else's
whoever
time.
the new counselors are, if they're even available. I mean, if they have other plans and they're not here and she can't make it, then that leaves it up to the 4 of us to man it for 2 days. So I don't know.
Can we approve it subject to,
Well, I looked at
What the heck?
Sure, okay.
There's no reason I can't be there.
That's right, yeah.
And Alan, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if ever,
Fishing shack and fish
Yeah.
and stuff.
You
Or
know
we
what,
could,
and
we
I-
could have a draw for one free fire.
In the fishing shack.
hey, we could have a really interesting booth. We could get really creative. Okay, so what, do we want to amend that, Donna, or do you want to just have it subject, or are you happy with, it sounds like we've got maybe more people that are willing to man hours, or twisted arms here?
I'll leave it as is.
Okay.
Do you want a value though? Do you want a dollar amount for the silent
Well,
auction?
we'll just wait and I'll bring it back to, I got a note here to bring back to.
Some ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, just some ideas, we'll see what we can find.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor? Forestry products industry profile presentation. Councillor Panasic.
I'll make the motion that council receive the invitation to view the presentation. Hold on, I want that council attend or not to travel, but to attend the teleconference version of it. That's what I wanted to get at.
Is that in here somewhere?
Well, it's not one of the recommendations.
So where is that recommendation?
That any counselor that wishes to attend this presentation do so by teleconference or Microsoft Link.
Okay.
Because those are, you can do it for free and.
Anybody have another comment? Everybody's good? All those in favor?
I just have one question. This isn't like the other webinars or whatever that you can just have the link and view it later. This is a live link? Okay.
Do you want to vote again? All those in favor? Carried. 7.3, new Alberta Wetlands Policy Workshop. Do we have a motion? Councillor
I
Panase.
would say that we receive this for information.
All those in favor? Oh, do you have a comment?
I don't.
Well, then why didn't you vote?
Well,
They voted.
I saw Donna was looking fancy.
Did you have a comment, Donna? A question? Do you have a question? No?
No, I wasn't in favor to receive it for information.
You weren't in favor, okay. All those in favor?
Opposed.
Well, we should have heard why she wasn't in favor first.
My apologies.
Donna, would you want to tell us why you're not in favor?
Well, I thought this was something that we had been discussing in past council meetings, that we were trying to figure out what our responsibilities were as a municipality regarding wetlands, rivers and streams and stuff. So that's why I thought maybe somebody would attend that and then we would have that information.
Councillor Long.
If I recall right, this was discussed at the last watershed meeting, and there will be people going to this from the watershed. And so I'll be able to report back from the meeting that we have with our watershed partners.
And if I remember right, Donna, we invited Megan to do a presentation to us in the new year, and that she was going to come and sort of go over the rights and responsibilities.
Oh,
So
okay.
I thought, that's why, I thought we would sort of address that with her, but I do agree with you, it is something that we should be looking at. And hopefully we can get the information locally.
Solar PV and biomass information, northern communities. Councillor Panasic.
Well, nobody else wants to. Oh, we might have a new one though.
Okay. Yes. Council receives the invitation to to attend the information day regarding solar electricity being held at Peace River on February 12th, 2016 for information.
Counselor Panasic.
I think this one might be good if is any of administration planning on attending that to see if there's something we can do from a town perspective?
I haven't planned on it.
Because I think there might be some benefits to this one and it is relatively close and cheap.
Well, just what I was saying about the monies that are being out there for grants for energy efficiencies. We may be able to tap into something if there's something that needs to be done, but. Or does the housing guy wanna go?
I know that Heart River Housing, I think Lindsay's planning on attending, and I know that there's a couple of the members that are on the Heart River Housing Council or were planning on going. So we could probably get some of the information from them. But I can't attend on that day.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of Michael's motion to receive for information?
Well, does that mean that administration cannot go if they want?
Well, I
They
think
can
this is
still
just
go,
for
right?
us, really.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
is just us.
We can't make decisions about what they do, really, as far as like education or training.
Okay.
Are we good? All those in favor? Are we on reports?
We're scheduling another meeting Friday.
Yeah, Friday's tough, eh?
Yeah. It just didn't work for me.
Okay, written verbal reports. Counselor Danaka.
We have,
What, did I miss something?
let me start with Mayor Cox and we'll leave it for information.
If she's not here? Okay, Mayor Cox.
Somebody make a motion.
I'll make
Counselor-
a motion that council receive Mayor Cox's report for information.
All those in favor? Counselor Danaka.
No report, no meetings.
No reports for me. We do have, the health council meeting coming up, and we have watershed coming up, so I'll have that.
Do you guys want to vote on these? We missed voting on Donna's. No report.
Well, there's no reports, so we didn't have to.
Good.
We should vote on.
You spoke.
I didn't have any reports.
No
I just
report.
said-
Okay.
You're right.
Okay, we're good. Counselor Panasic.
Other than the budget meeting and the candidates forum, the other meeting that I attended in the last couple of weeks was Heart River Housing. And, not really much to report there. We went over the budget for 2015 and they basically came in just under budget and that was all good. The other interesting thing from it was we got a chance, they had a concept drawing for the facility that we might build, the senior self-contained units, the new ones, so just a concept drawing, it looks wonderful. And they actually struck a subcommittee of that group to look at what we would like to see for both Falaire and for High Prairie, because they're both putting in, and we wanna come up with shovel-ready projects, so we'll have Fox Creek, High Prairie, and Falaire all ready to go. If we get all of the money that's being promised by the federal government and the provincial government, so that's the concept there. Other than that, there was not much more to report. I move my report for information.
Mayor?
Any word on whole taxation situation for Heart River Housing, 55 units we have in town, and the province?
There is no movement from the government, so from Heart River Housing the AUMA has been pressuring them. Heart River Housing has sent letters saying that, you know, that the communities are feeling the crunch and they need to do something. So no, nothing's been happening with that at all. What we've done, I think, is trying to set up the meeting with our MLA and the minister is going to be the key thing that pushes this thing along. So that's I think we're doing the right step in getting there and saying that, and Heart River Housing is all on board to say, you know what, maybe we don't want to have all of these units here and have them sold. And because Heart River Housing can see that they went to Sherwood Park, and I can't remember they don't have any social housing in all of Sherwood Park. So
Only
you think-
duty,
Huh?
not in my backyard, eh?
Yeah, like it's very
There's
interesting.
no poverty in Sherwood Park. Sherwood Park's a very healthy, wealthy community, obviously.
But they do other programs that help support those people that are lower income and need a little bit of support. And they do rent subsidies, right? They help them with that. So there are rent subsidies, and they do, for those people that need help, they get help, they rent privately owned, rentals, and they get a rent subsidy from the government. So instead of having the government owning and maintaining and managing, all they do is pay a rent subsidy.
But our housing's doing that already though, here.
Well, we've got our housing and the rental subsidies and you know, other options. But you can do it and not have it. So that might be a way for us to get out and get our taxes.
At the same time, it's empowering.